A wonderful morning to all my dear students of class 10 of both the sections Jasmine and Rose. I am Arpita Banerjee Miss. Once again, I am here with my English video class, and today I am here with you with chapter number 4 from your book First Flight, that is from the Diary of Annie Frank, written by Annie Frank. Now students, I hope you all are fit and fine with your near and dear ones and staying very safely in your homes. Okay, now today I will be telling you about the writer of this chapter from the Diary of Annie Frank, that is Annie Frank. Then I will be telling you the summary of this chapter. Also, I will give you the theme of this chapter. I will inform you all about the message conveyed through this chapter. Okay? Last but not the least, the topic which I will tell you is the justification of the title of this chapter from the Diary of Annie Frank. Students, don't forget to put your attendance in the comment box, as all of you all know that we the teachers are keeping a record of your attendance with us each and every day. So you put your attendance in the comment box. And another thing, students, if you like my way of teaching, if you like my way of explaining to you all, please subscribe my channel. And another most important thing, students, from the next class onwards, I will be explaining to you the chapter line by line. And after the completion of my explanation, I will be giving you the questions from this chapter. Before I proceed to the explanation part, I myself, for your convenience as well as for mine, I have divided this chapter into 3 parts. Okay, part 1, part 2 and part 3. So in my next class, I will be explaining to you part 1 and part 2, that is page number 50 and page number 51. And after the next day's class, in the following class, I will be explaining to you all the part 3 of the chapter, as I have divided it in that manner. That is page number 52, 53 and 54. And after the completion of the explanation, I will be giving you the questions from this chapter. Is it clear to you? Now I will be telling you about the writer of this chapter from the Diary of Annie Frank, about Annie Frank. So you listen to me. Annie Frank was a German Jewish girl. She was born on 12th June in the year 1929. The 12-year-old Jewish girl wrote the Diary of Annie Frank while in hiding with her family and 4 friends in Amsterdam during the Nazis' occupation of the Netherlands in the Second World War. So, being a young Jewish girl, Annie Frank lived with her parents in Germany in the beginning. But Hitler's Nazi party was against the Jews. The Nazis were killing the Jews or forcing them to work in the concentration camps. The Frank family fled from Germany in the year 1933. They took shelters in the Netherlands. But in the year 1940, Germany attacked the Netherlands and captured it. Now, the Nazis started arresting the Jews and sending them to the concentration camps. The Frank family went into hiding. They lived secretly in the upper floors of their business premises. They hid there for 25 months. Their non-Jewish friends gave them food. Annie had started writing her diary before going into hiding. In August 1944, the Germans came to know of their hiding. They were arrested and sent to Germany. Annie, her sister Margot, and her mother soon died in a concentration camp. Her father only survived and published part of Annie's diary. In this diary, Annie gives a moving and tragic account of the difficulties faced by her family and the other Jews. The part of the diary reproduced in this chapter is about the days when Annie was a schoolgirl and she and her family had not yet moved to the secret quarters. So students, now I will tell you about the summary of this chapter. The chapter from the diary of Annie Frank is a part of Annie Frank's diary. Annie Frank thinks that writing a diary is a strange experience for her. She has never written anything like this before. She feels that no one except her will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. She writes it for herself. She wants to get all kinds of things off her chest. Annie feels that paper has more patience than people. There was a time when she was a little depressed and sat at home. She doesn't want anyone else except her to read her stiff-backed notebook unless she finds a real friend. She keeps the diary as she doesn't have a friend. Annie writes that outwardly there are about 30 people whom she can call friends. She has a family, loving aunts, and a good home. She has loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, Margot. But still, she feels all alone. She can only talk about ordinary things with them. They are not able to come closer and express themselves. This is the problem which Annie Frank used to face with her family. So, she has started to write the diary. She wants her diary to be her friend. She calls her diary her friend Kitty. She calls her father the most adorable father. He married at 36 when her mother was only 25. Her sister Margot, who was born in the year 1926, and she was born on the year 1929 on 12th June. They emigrated to Holland in 1933. She got her education there. In 1942, her grandma died. Annie started writing her diary on 20th June in the year 1942. Annie Frank was sent to the Montessori school and stayed there until she was 6. She started in the first form. When Annie was in the 6th form, her teacher was Mrs. Couperus, the headmistress. Both had a great love for each other. One day, when Annie went to school, she finds that the entire class was shaking with fear. The teachers will decide in the next meeting who will move up and who will be kept back. She realizes that at least there are about a quarter of students who are totally worthless and should be kept back. But it is difficult to predict the decision of the teachers. She is not much worried about herself and her girlfriends. She is not very sure about maths. She has good relations with her teachers. Mr. Kissing, the maths teacher, is an old-fashioned teacher. He doesn't like her because she talks too much. The maths teacher gives her some extra work to write an essay on a chatterbox. She writes 3 pages. She argues in the essay that talking is a student's trait. She promises to keep it under control. She feels that she will never be able to cure herself of the habit. Her mother also talked as much as she does. It is an inherited trait. Mr. Casing has a good laugh at her arguments in the essay. He assigns her a second essay on an incorrigible chatterbox. Finally, as punishment for talking in the class, he gives her another essay on quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. The class gives a roar of laughter. Her friend San is good at poetry. She offers to help her. Annie wants to turn the table on Mr. Casing. She finishes the poem about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings. They are beaten to death by the father because they quack too much. Mr. Casing understands the poem and its message in the right way. Since then, she has been allowed to talk. She has not been assigned with any extra homework. Students, now I am here to tell you the theme of this chapter. One of the themes of Annie Frank's diary is the loneliness and isolation of adolescence. Being a young adult can be hard at times, but it's harder still if you are forced to live in such a tense, claustrophobic environment like Annie. Annie is growing up very quickly, but there is really no one around with whom she can share her experiences. She is not particularly close to Margot. Her relationship with her mother is fraught, to say the least. She completely adores her father, but there are certain things that she can't really share with him. So she remains alone, and her feelings of loneliness and isolation are compounded by the fact that no one truly understands her. Annie is very mature for her age, full of complex thoughts and feelings, and it's so incredibly frustrating for her not to be able to share them with others. There are several themes in the novel from the diary of Annie Frank. One of the themes is the sacrifice of one human being for another. The act of hiding people at the risk of one's own life and giving food, living space and friendship to spare the lives of people around themselves. An underlying theme of Annie's account is man's inhumanity to man. Simply because of her religious beliefs, Annie is confined and lives in constant fear of death. Eventually, she does die along with over 6 million other Jews during the Second World War. The message conveyed through this chapter from the diary of Anne Frank. The essence of Anne Frank's message has become a universal symbol of tolerance, strength, and hope in face of adversity. The most important message of the story is that all people have the right to live in freedom. Students, I will be telling you about the justification of the title of this chapter. Now students, originally the name of the chapter is The Diary of a Young Girl, which was written by Anne Frank, a 13-year-old Jewish girl. She started writing her diary as she didn't have any friend with whom she could share her feelings and emotions. The red and white checkered diary came to her rescue, and throughout her life she confided in it and gave it the name Kitty. She treated it as her dear friend. She gave vent to her feelings while making the entries in her diary. Some of the entries are very personal, while some criticize her parents as well as her friends. She never kept anything back from her diary and recorded every petty issues, like the everyday quarrels between her mother and Mrs. Van Daan, and even between Mr. and Mrs. Van Daan. She recorded her feelings during the war, her fear, her frustrations and anger at the way in which the Jews were treated by the Germans. The whole book has been written in a diary form and revolves around the life of the girl Anne Frank. Hence, the title is Justified. To all my dear students, with this I conclude today's class, and in my next class, as I have told you in today's class, while I started this class, that I will be explaining to you the chapter page numbers 50 and 51. So you keep your textbooks, first flight ready with you all. Thank you, students.